The American Red Cross supplies 40% of the nation's blood, and right now, due to reduced donations, there's less than 1 day of supply of critical blood types available. The organization's Gold Country region is home to almost 4 million people in 26 counties, almost 4 million people who might need transfusions due to a car accident or a needed surgery. Stephen Walsh represents the Gold Country region, is with me now live to explain what is happening here as a result of this shortage. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you for coming in to explain. Now, Stephen, with your time with the Red Cross, have you ever seen anything like this? This is a situation where local is national, national is local. Should people be afraid what might happen if they need blood?
I wouldn't say people need to be afraid, but they do. The message today is for people that are healthy, that can donate. And that message is, you mentioned it, there's, depending on the day, there's about a 1 day supply of blood on the shelves. We stockpile blood that has a shelf life of about 5 days. So what I want people to really think about is, if you're healthy and you can donate, the hour that you sit in that chair and donate blood potentially can save 3 lives. This sounds small, but since the beginning of the month, 2022, January, more than 60 blood drives have been canceled around the country. And I guarantee you, as we're talking, that number is going up. What that means is that's potentially 2,000 or more units that can go to save potentially 6,000 lives. So we want people to think about that. And if you're healthy, go to our website, redcrossblood.org. There's a small questionnaire. You find a blood drive that's close to you, etc., and you sign up. And this is actually important. We've actually got a lot of calls today from people that say, hey, I went on your website this morning because I heard the call that you need blood. I'm not finding any that are, close by in the next week. I don't want people to panic about that. That's a good problem for us to solve, but I want people to look at 2, 3, 4 weeks out in the future and find a date and a location that works for you so that you can still donate. And the reason is because the need for blood is constant. It just so happens that right now, it's constant with a capital C. We really need the help.
Definitely important information to think a little longer term than just going in this week. Now, when it comes to other kinds of shortages, we think if we're short here, we can just borrow from someplace else, and that would fulfill the need. And that's not exactly how it works in this situation, right? We know blood is perishable, doesn't have a long shelf life, and so borrowing is not exactly to fill our need how it would work in a tight pinch if we were just in that situation here. There's borrowing that happens all the time.
Right, and I don't want people to focus on, what is the blood need in Sacramento. The Red Cross is a network, and other blood donation organizations is a network. So if we collect a lot of blood in Northern California, for example, but there's a need in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, the Red Cross will decide, what we need to do to fulfill that need, be it a mass casualty event or a large influx of, let's say, cancer patients or accident victims. So it's a shareable resource, but that's why this is a national call. So whatever county, whatever state you're in, find that website, redcrossblood.org, and enter in your information to find the nearest one that you can donate at, because it might be used here in your neighborhood or your city, or it might be used the next state over.
For our region, in terms of the requests that hospitals put in, are you aware of the region or the Red Cross having to say to hospitals, we don't have that right now, we can't fulfill that order?
It's not necessarily a case of saying we can't fulfill that order, but physicians at hospitals are having to make tough choices in that if they recognize a shortage of blood at their hospital, they might have to postpone things like elective surgeries, things like that. And that's what we're trying to avoid, because anybody that goes to the hospital, they obviously want to be cared for as soon as possible. So when somebody donates, that boosts the inventory, that much more. And so think about 100, 1,000, 10,000 people that might step up to donate, then that need is alleviated. We're in a situation now where, because of bad weather, because of COVID, because of supply chain issues, people are not turning out right now. But this is the time. If you want to do something to help your neighbors in a time when we're all separated and there's definitely anxiety over, what can I do? This is something that you can do that's completely safe to help people that are in need.
Definitely an empowering message and an important one given the state of this crisis. Thank you so much for coming in to share the word of what people can do right now. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.